just because we haven't found fossils of dinosaurid humanoids, doesn't mean that they didn't exist, and doesn't mean that they didn't survive the KT tragedy. One never knows, and one never knows what those creatures could have become over a few thousand years. Look at what humans have done.
Mm-hmm.
No, that would be too soon. That's back when our kind were fighting Neanderthals for territory.
Yeah, which that's a fascinating subject into itself as well.
Yeah, especially if Neanderthals really looked like that. Well, I mean, that would definitely be where we got orcs in fantasy from today.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you suppose that Doctor Who decided to put this species so? I mean, I guess it's because they wanted something that was even older than dinosaurs. They wanted that ancientness, but according to Wikipedia here, we have a 24.6 million year period spanning from 443.8 million to 419.2 million years ago. Is there anything really interesting or spiffy or special besides just the ancientness of that period?
I would guess, because 440 million years ago was quite a while.
It's a long time ago.
And in fact, I think that's slightly before the
Go ahead.
the thing that changed us into an oxygen planet rather than a something we couldn't breathe, a cyanogen planet.
Yeah, I know that there was a. I had not known this before. Back when I was sick, one of the things I used to watch was Eons. It was PBS YouTube channel Eons.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about an episode where, life transitioned to an oxygen, I don't know exactly the term, but essentially an oxygen consuming creature. And then before that, there'd been so much oxygen produced from the exhalations that it nearly poisoned all the life on the earth and nearly exterminated everything. Putin's cat has a question. Yeah. Oh, and Matt Chewood has an observation. The oxygenation event. Yes, cyanobacteria. And Putin's cat's question: did these special dinosaurs leave the Earth? Otherwise, where are the fossils, and are they under a continental plate?
They could have left. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know how advanced they became. Keep in mind, our own industrial revolution's only been over the last 180 years. So that period less than 1,500 years, we don't know, and we don't even know if it's actually a species that was there. We just know that there is a weird spike in certain minerals in the atmosphere about 55 million years ago that indicates that there possibly could have been an industrial civilization at that time. That's not saying that there was. That's not saying that's what the scientists are saying. They're just saying, hey, it's possible.
It's possible. Yep. Yep.
Because part of science is just simply saying, hey, it's possible.
According to this, the Silurian, the base of the Silurian is set at a series of major extinction events, because it does seem like a lot of these periods and eras are usually hyphenated by extinction events. I've noticed that. Evidently, up to 60% of marine genera were wiped out at the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's one of the five great extinctions.
Right. The Great Dying, which is not, it's not this period that involves, but or at least that's not the beginning of it, is one of the things that fascinates me, because I had not known about that until recently. I'd learned about that on that Eons channel, and evidently that's one of the 2 times that life came closest to simply ceasing to exist. But this one began with a 60% extinction event, and then obviously each of them also incurs this explosion of life into new channels and new directions. According to this, the Silurian was the diversification of jawed fish, including placoderms, the acanthodons, which gave rise to the cartilaginous fish, and the bony fish. So basically, this is where the fish became kind of a great big deal.
Yes, that's when sea life started. I believe the cephalopods started around that time. The thing, okay, so to answer Putin's cat's question, industrial suggests machinery. Yes. How long do you think an engine can survive? We don't know. We've had them for about 120 years. We don't know how long they would be there. As for this thing here, magic is real, and the bigger the population dilutes it. It's not so much that the population dilutes it; it's the semantics of what we're raised to believe and not think we can do as a population.
Right. Fair point. Fair point.
I mean, what are you told? What are you told from the time that you don't go up on that building and jump off because you can't fly? Well, who says you can't fly? You've just been told since you were a kid you couldn't. Your brain is the strongest computer in the world. If you're told you can't do something enough, you won't be able to do it. Just a thought.
Yeah. And I don't know that we know how long machinery lasts, but I would suggest that at least after 1,000,000 years, it would just be incredible if something survived that was recognizable.
Metals rust. They corrode. Machinery goes away after. I mean, go look at a junkyard that's been sitting there for 20 years with a bunch of old cars. If you time lapse those cars, you'll see them fall apart and become, part of the dirt. It is what it is, man. Machinery falls apart. You're not always going to be able to find, and that's an argument that a lot of people use when it comes to these scientists talking about stuff like this. Oh, well, we haven't found any plastic. We haven't found any engines. We haven't found any microchips. Any of that. Well, who said you would? Think about it. We don't know even. I mean, look at how long 6,000 years has eroded. How much and how vastly 6,000 years has eroded the pyramids.
Yeah.
Look at Stonehenge, put up 53,000 years ago. Look at all of these older structures and stuff. The only things that really survive that show that there's a human presence forever is when they do the hill forts and stuff like that are under the hills. Anything that's on the surface is subject to wind, erosion, water, and the passage of time. So who's to say that these engines wouldn't be there? They're just gone now because of the elements, because of the way the world works.
Did we want to maybe dive into what the Y-Files guy says about the Silurian hypothesis? I can't remember if...
Yeah, you can go ahead and bring up his video.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. And I'll pause it every minute or so. And of course, as always, this is for educational purposes only. This is a fair use thing. We're not trying to steal his work or anything. We're just trying to share some information with the community, and he is a great source of it. Matt Cheatwood is saying there are only 3 environments a physical object can realistically be in for a long time: in the earth, in the air, and the water, and none of them are good. The oldest cave paintings he's aware of are just over 50,000 years old. And yeah, the cave drawings are some of our oldest.
Yeah, but they've had to stop humans from going in some of those caves because they're ruining the cave paintings.
Exactly correct. All right. Are humans the first civilization? I love this guy. He's amazing.
There are over 7 billion people living on the earth right now. Tens of millions are born and die each year. Every single one of us leaves signs of our existence in the air, water, soil, even space. But these signs won't last forever. Our buildings will be gone in a few hundred years. Our stone monuments, plastic, styrofoam, Twinkies, even evidence of our inevitable nuclear destruction will eventually be gone. So how can we be sure that we were the first advanced civilization on Earth? Well, according to the Silurian hypothesis, we can't. Let's find out why. Let's talk about the Silurian hypothesis.
What the hell is a Silurian?
Well, they were intelligent humanoid reptilians who, in an episode of Doctor Who, were awakened by nuclear testing after 400 million years of hibernation.
Lizard people?
Yep.
We're finally doing a lizard people episode.
We are. Well, kinda. Humans are selfish. It's hard for us to imagine that in a very short time we as individuals won't be here. And it's even hard.
Sorry, I wasn't meaning to speed it. I was meaning to pause it. And exactly correct. We're losing the Twinkie. Oh.
The Twinkies will too be gone one day. Simple fact.
Truly proof that entropy is greater than anything there is. All right. So
I know
imagine.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Even the fabled Twinkie will once again be gone one day.
Oh man. Well, the corporations almost got rid of them. If you remember, Hostess went bankrupt.
Yeah.
For a while, there weren't any Twinkies. Twinkies in a cave, Boots Cat says, will survive. I hope they do, actually. I kind of hope they do.
In a time where our civilization won't exist.
Go ahead, sir.
That would be wonderful that if one day our spacefaring parts of our species return and they don't find our civilization, but in a cave somewhere in France, they find a year's supply of Twinkies.
And the sugar rush causes them to de-evolve and kill each other. So anyway, that's where my mind goes. Don't mind me.
Suddenly they got tiny atom bombs with them, and they're doing silly things.
If I was more organized and less messed up, my office would look very similar to his. Not exactly like his, but similar.
I like his conspiracy board back there. You notice how it's all
yes. I also noticed that you don't see it here, but he's got Weird Al in a couple of photos up there. But anyway.
Yep.
Exist at all. But if we learned anything from archaeology, it's that every civilization has its time. Think about ancient Egypt. They lived 30 dynasties that spanned over 3,000 years. And if you were an Egyptian living during this time, generations of your family, going back as far as anyone can remember, walked in the shadow of the pyramids. They fished the Nile. They sailed the Mediterranean, mingled with other cultures. As far as you or anyone knew, your civilization had been there and would last forever. Then it was gone. The Mesopotamians before them, the Indus after them, Greeks, Nubians, the Persians, Romans, Incas, Aztecs. These were empires of millions of people, all lasting 1,000 years or more, but very little evidence of them remains. Now, all of these civilizations, including our own modern one, have only been here for a short time. Complex life has existed for hundreds of millions of years. Modern humans have only been here for about 100,000 years. Our entire history has taken place in the past 0.002% of life on Earth. So there's a whole lot of past in the past. And that's plenty of time for other intelligent species to evolve, thrive, and go extinct.
And I know that was part of Graham Hancock's reasoning when he'd done his book about the Holy Grail. He wanted to write a book about early man, and he said it just bored him to tears that there were hundreds of thousands, about 100,000 years where virtually nothing happened. And he got to thinking, we've been around for all these thousands of years, and then this last century, we've had this great big upshot. Is it possible that maybe that's happened before? Putin's cat is saying in Ghost Rider 2, Twinkies were the only food that the demon guy could eat. Right on.
Over and over again with different species. And if that happened, would we really know they were here? When Adam Frank and Gavin Schmidt wrote the Silurian
And these are the people from the article that I just read or tried to read.
hypothesis, they addressed a lot of misconceptions about how we study the past. We're used to the idea that we learn of ancient societies by examining artifacts and excavated ruins. But this really only works if you're going back a few thousand years. And when you want to go back millions of years, it's more complicated. For example, the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, and complex life appeared about 600 million years ago. Fine. But the oldest surface land ever discovered is the Negev Desert in Israel. It's about 1.8 million years old. That's it. Every other piece of exposed land we've ever found is newer than that. So,
which begs the question, where do we find all these fossils then? Is it just, I guess it's digging underneath the exposed dirt is where we find all those. So.
Mountainsides.
Right. Gotcha.
Where'd all the land go?
Where did all the land go? Anyway.
If ancient civilizations existed before humans, they could be very hard to detect. Because of the Earth's plate tectonics, today's mountains are yesterday's ocean floor. New land is formed every day as old lands are eroded into dust. That's why discovering fossils is a lot more difficult than people think. Very specific conditions need to be present for fossilization. The organism needs hard body parts like bones, teeth, and shells. The remains need to be quickly covered and protected from scavenging and erosion. You need high pressure for mineralization and low oxygen to prevent decomposition. This almost never happens. Dinosaurs roamed the Earth for about 180 million years. Trillions of individual animals lived and died, yet we only have a few thousand near-complete fossils. It's estimated that over 2.5 billion Tyrannosaurus rexes lived and died on the Earth, but fewer than 100 fossils have ever been found, and only one of them is complete. That means we've only discovered 0.0000004% of the species.
That's an incredibly small sampling, which I get. I mean, it's all we can do because it's all we have. But that's
so basically what he's saying is your question about the engine earlier. If we can't even get bones and shells to last that long without very specific things going on, how fares your engine? Think about it. Continue.
Amen. All right.
Schmidt and Frank said that a species as short-lived as Homo sapiens might not be represented in the existing fossil record at all. Now, the current area of urbanization is less than 1% of the Earth's surface. So human artifacts like roads, cities, machines, even megastructures would last only a few thousand years and are unlikely to ever be found. They conclude that direct evidence like this can only go back about 4 million years. Even if the entire human race were eliminated by a nuclear war, the radioactive evidence would disappear eventually. So, are there other methods for detecting the existence of advanced intelligent life in the distant past? Turns out there are.
Okay, and we'll go through this next part of his show, and then we'll cut it there.
Okay. All right.
Civilization, at least as defined by the authors of the Silurian hypothesis, is where industrialization occurs on a global scale, as ours does. Now, as we speak, industrialization is leaving clues of our existence that will be detectable by scientists 100 million years in the future. Now, eventually, our time on Earth will be crushed down to nothing more than a thin layer of rock sediment.
Yeah, that's uplifting.
Now, in a sedimentary core, a layer of a few centimeters is deposited every 1,000 years. And in those centimeters, future paleontologists will find evidence of our geologic era called the Anthropocene. Now, for example, we grow so much food now that our use of fertilizer is actually redirecting the planet's nitrogen supply. And this nitrogen cycling is also changing its isotopic signature. And this isotope will be detectable in the sediment. Agriculture and deforestation increase soil erosion, and that erosion washes into the sea and becomes part of the sediment. Now, human mining activities have increased the amounts of gold, lead, chromium, platinum, and other metals, and these also will be visible in the sediment at greater rates than before. But the element that will really tell the story of civilization is carbon. Humans conquered the planet by harnessing combustion, and it seems reasonable that intelligent life forms everywhere would do the same thing. When we burn the tissue of long dead plants, fossil fuels, we change the ratio of isotopes in the atmosphere. And this is called the Seuss effect.
The green omelet guy?
Different Seuss.
Yeah.
Carbon comes in 15 flavors, but the most common isotopes are carbon-12, carbon-13, and carbon-14. Carbon-12 is light carbon. This is the isotope preferred by plants and used during photosynthesis. And animals that eat plants consume the plant's carbon-12. And animals that eat plants consume their carbon-12, and so on. Now, volcanic emissions are carbon-13. Carbon-14 is radioactive and decays predictably over time. Fossil fuels have no carbon-14 at all. And as we burn more fossil fuels, the levels of carbon-13 and 14 go down, while the level of enriched carbon-12 goes up. All this carbon in the atmosphere also causes the Earth to warm slightly.
Blech.
What?
Global warming is a myth.
It's not.
Sheep.
Look, you can argue that the warming is man-made or that it's not, but either way, we're up about a degree.
Bleh, bleh.
Anyway, when looking through sedimentary layers from millions of years ago,
That's
this is what
fantastic.
we need to see to determine if there was advanced civilization present. We need to see a large but temporary spike in carbon and oxygen, a large but temporary spike in metals, and a large but temporary spike in global temperature. We find that, we're onto something.
Have we found that? Have we?
We have, and it happened 56 million years ago.
The age of the lizard people.
You know,
Alright.
the hecklefish doesn't believe in the hecklefish doesn't believe in global warming, but the hecklefish also doesn't believe we went to the moon either. So
Yeah, exactly. Made a comment there'd be a layer of those elements all over the place.
that depends on how heavy those elements were in those places to begin with. Again, we don't know how long. You know, everything has what they call a half-life and a full life. Okay, a half-life is how long after half of its life can it last. Okay, so radiation, for example, say we nuke ourselves off the planet. The only evidence that we're going to be there is a really high carbon count in the soil and a lot of radiation. So, I mean, you'd have a
Yeah.
lot of uranium and iridium and stuff of that nature in the soil.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would likely, I think, depend on how global a nuclear war was, but it isn't a bad point. If there was a truly global nuclear war, it probably would be a pretty fair amount of these metals all over. Do we want to finish that video, or did you have some comments to make on the?
I think
On
we
the-
can wax. I think we can wax poetically for the rest of our hour or
Okay, sounds good. Good to me.
so. He dropped enough information, and he explained that iridium that layer thing better than I could at the moment. All the grounds, yes, sir.
All the ground zeros. Yeah, exactly. So he's saying 56 million. I think you were saying somewhere between 56 and 52
Yeah.
million, if I remember right.
Yeah.
What do you think happened then? I mean, well, was it a civilization? Was it something else? What do you think we
Personally-
have going on there?
Personally, I think there might have been something there. I'm not saying there. I'm not going to say completely that I think there was, because feigning like you know for sure when you don't is completely bogus.
Yeah.
But there's thought, and there are actually legitimate scientists talking about this. So it's not just pseudoscience. It's not just tinfoil hat stuff. There's possibility that like he said, we're not going. You're not going to find much evidence of us in a few million years.
Yeah.
Um, if we die out as a species, or say we leave Earth for whatever reason and we go out into the stars, there's no chance. We're not sure that if we come back this way, we're going to find evidence of us. It takes a specific thing. You heard the things that he said: pressure, oxygenation, uh, water, erosion, all of that. It takes a special set of things before a thing even becomes a fossil. We only have, less than a 1% of all of the dinosaurs in the world have we ever found, and we found a lot of dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
There were, you got ideas that there may have been 2 or 3 billion of each species of dinosaur, so you never know. Like, our period of history, we think, we're so humanocentric, and that's great and all, but like, our period of history is just a drop in the bucket. You really don't know what could have happened in the millions of years since the giant lizards roamed the planet. Maybe a group of them survived the KP impact, and they evolved further, and they became lizard people, for example. And those lizard people built a great civilization on this planet. And who's to say they didn't wound themselves back into I mean, it's obvious they're not here. We don't,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see the lizard people unless they're in Agartha, the city in the center of the earth, you know,
Yeah.
uh we just don't. There's so much, as humans, we think we're so bright, we think we're so intelligent, but we just don't know where this stuff is, where it has gone, why is it not there. We don't know, because we have explored maybe a 16th of this planet, truly explored a 16th of this planet, and we don't even know what's under the oceans. We don't know. The planet changes over time, people. Like, I mean, we just don't know. The information, the full, complete information isn't there. It annoys me that our species is so set in itself that we think that we're going to just know these things. I mean, it gets frustrating. It's
Yeah.
truly
100%.
frustrating. You
And
left
more
something
than
underground on the moon. If it didn't get hit by a meteor, it might survive. True.
yeah.
No, also, here's another thing for you. Another fellow planet in our solar system, the next one out, poor little Mars, which we're going to be, doing horrible things to over the next couple of 100 years. Um,
Right.
poor innocent Mars over there in the Cydonia region in the northern part of Mars has a section of area that looks like there was a nuclear war. The fact of the matter is the soil the samples that we've had there of the soil have indicated that there is the right mineral breakdown for evidence of a nuclear war. The radiation is higher there. I mean, come on. Sashi, I beg to differ. I'm human, and I think I'm pretty dumb. Looking back at my previous decisions, it's obvious.
Sashi, I resemble that remark.
Well, I
Let's
mean,
see.
admittedly, I've hit my head a few times.
It's interesting. So, looking up, I'm finding an article about evidence of a massive thermonuclear explosion on Mars in the past. I had actually not heard this before.
Yeah, the craziest thing, but it's there.
And yes, I also would like to welcome you, Sashi, the man from the future. You probably know if we have colonized Mars or if Elon Musk has instead enslaved us to robots. Let's see what this has to say.
God damn it, Elon.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it talks about the Fermi paradox, which is the unexpected silence of the cosmos under the assumption of mediocrity.
Okay, so what I ascribe to when it comes to why they're so quiet out there
Mhm.
is I ascribe to what they call the dark forest theory. There are, there could be 10,000 civilizations right here near us within like 100 light years. But
Mhm.
there's so much open area. We may only every once in a while get an indication of a signal or whatever. And some of them could be masking themselves. I mean, human beings are quite stupid when it comes to being an intergalactic species, and I'll tell you why. For 80 years, we've been screaming radio waves out into the void.
Oh yeah, and a lot of them have not been really intelligent.
We've been throwing things out there. We've been throwing signal out there, like radio signal and all of that. If there's any alien race out there monitoring, they can pick up our television. They can pick up the things we watch. And if you think about the things that we watch on television, first of all, why would any alien want to come here? We make them out to be so bad.
True.
Alien
True.
invasion movies, pink goo, There could be, yeah, exactly. The dark forest theory is essentially that there are predators in the forest and loud civilizations do not survive. Yes. So we're screaming out into the void like a 5-year-old. What if that wow signal that we got back in the 70s that we think is an actually intelligent radio signal that we can't decipher? What if that says, hush, they'll find you?
Right.
I mean, think about it. Shh, there's animals out there. I mean, also, if you're an intelligent species, are you going to want to let other intelligent species out there know? I mean, think about it. You don't know what's predatory out there in space. It could
No,
be
we really
anything
don't.
lurking about out there,
No, we don't have any idea
And like I
what's going
said,
on.
like a bunch of idiots, humans have been shrieking into the void for 80 years.
Galaxy Quest. The Thermians found our archives.
Yes, and then they'll think Star Trek is real. Oh man. It's you can count in a pyramid about as much stuff as humans really truthfully know. We think we're so intelligent because we put an ape on the moon.
Or
And by-
did we?
And
I
by
think
apes,
Kubrick filmed it. I'm teasing.
and by apes, I mean us.
Us, yeah.
Just because we put a few apes on the next planet over doesn't mean we're that intelligent.
Exactly.
I mean, just about every race of us on this planet that have just about every country on this planet has a stockpile of weapons that can make us go away 1,000 times over. Humans. We're gonna end up going extinct because we're just morons, right?
Yeah, I wonder about that. I'm actually surprised we haven't had a nuclear war. I as a kid, I really firmly believed that instead of the fall of the Soviet Union, we were all going to end in a big nuclear conflagration. It surprises me it hasn't happened yet.
We were going to end in It's Christmas at Ground Zero.
Yeah, exactly. It's Christmas out here. The premise here is that we were done. This discussion is pointless. Okay. And Sashi put someone on Venus to really impress me. Yeah, fine. That's
seriously, 400 degrees in the shade on Venus. Yeah, not. I mean, but now they're saying that there's actually a spot that life could exist in the cloud banks on Venus.
Oh, that's
like
interesting.
Above the bottoms of the clouds, there's an area where the air is breathable. The last probe we sent over there was like, whoa, the humans could live like in this section right here.
Right on.
Um,
I don't know that I'm going to read this aloud, but essentially they're just saying that a lot of the way elements are exhibited on Mars demonstrates a possibility that there were two nuclear blasts in the northern plains.
yep. I believe that area is called the Cydonia region. And we're finding
Yeah.
a lot of weird things in the Cydonia region that they may possibly indicate that there was a species there that was doing the thing, you know.
Yeah.
They were doing the nutty the nutty thing that we apparently creatures from this solar system do, you know, destroying each other.
The Chicxulub, was that what killed the dinosaurs?
The Chicxulub impact, yes,
Gotcha.
that was what got our dinosaurid friends their issues, you know.
The absence of craters at the site suggests centers of the explosion were above the ground. The explosions appear due to very large fusion fission devices of similar designs as seen on Earth. And the Acidalia device being approximately an 80-meter radius.
Yeah, that's a explosion site. What they're calling Acidalia.
Acidalia? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, being approximately 80 meters. Jesus, 80 meters. That's a wide range. The explosions appear correlated with two sets of possible archaeology sites, which form the base Cephalopod hypothesis. Yeah, see, they have their own hypothesis there for Mars. You know that there could have been no species there that they did something really stupid and bombed themselves into oblivion, which we may do one day. Yay!
The face of Sidonia Mensa confirm eyes, nose, and that's that legendary face on Mars, right?
Right. You know, the thing they try to tell us isn't real, that we were just looking at the rocks wrong. Yeah.
Oh, and I guess it's not going to let me read the whole thing. The new images. Yeah, it jumps to a totally different article.
Okay.
Ah, that sucks.
But yeah, no, and just to dispel what Putin's cat said before he ran out of here disappointedly, we're not trying to say the humans are just stupid. Okay. That's not my intention at all. It's just my intention to tell you that the idea that you know all that has happened on this planet is it's lame if you believe that. You know, there's things that we just don't know.
Well, I know there's plenty that I don't know. Do we? I don't mean to be rushing us, but I'm getting tired, and I kind of want to go to the Netter thing. Do we have anything more to discuss on this topic? Or
I've said my piece, man.
all right, very good, Moira. I didn't mean to ignore you or anything. Do you have anything you wanted to say on this or any other topic?
Are you there?
I may have
Might have
bored
fallen
you to tears.
She may have gone to sleep. Yeah, no, I think we've said our
All
piece
right.
on this.
All right.
Next week, I think we're going to talk about. Let's go into Tartaria. Let's talk
Tartaria.
about Tartaria and the mud floods. How about that?
That sounds like a capital idea because I don't really know much about that, and I'll be happy to learn a little bit here. So
And we'll talk about the fake time hypothesis
Ooh, yeah,
or
I
false
know.
time hypothesis.
Now I haven't watched them, but I have seen like thumbnails of videos about that topic. So
Yep.
so there it is. Oh,
And we will come back and we will tell you all about it next time.
all
You there,
right.
Moira?
Very good.
Meow meow.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Meow meow. Sashi, we're intelligent until we put our minds together. Then all the weird, quirky stuff comes to the surface.
Yep.
Not wrong. All
Mhm.
right.
No
Well-
lies detected.
Yeah. I'm going to play the music. Maybe one of these days I'll get something more creative, but this is the free, royalty-free music that doesn't annoy me, so that's what I play.
Yeah.
I would like to thank Matt Cheatwood. Hopefully we didn't spoil anything in Doctor Who. Thank you once again for your insights. And we also need to sometime soon talk about the iridium
Yes.
anomaly.
Someone has to make a post-it note of that, put it on their computer.
We do need to. Here, let me write it down on my handy
I don't have any post-it notes.
notebook. So we're going to do Tartaria
Mm-hmm. Mud floods.
and Marvel as he stumbles in his writing, tired blogging, Iridium anomaly.
Yeah.
All right. And would like to thank Putin's cat. Thank you very much. You also have some interesting insights. Sometimes I wonder about your patience, but you have some interesting insights. So you're always welcome here. And we had Sashi, the man from the future, who begs to differ about the intelligence of humanity. But anyway. And did I miss anybody? It seems like there was somebody else.
Are our name tags not showing up on here?
Huh?
Like, unhighlight the comment.
Unhighlight?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so there, like, Putin is saying he doesn't know who's talking because he can't see name tags.
I know. I don't know what's going on with
No, it doesn't show name tags when you have the comment highlighted.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I see.
I'll try and help him see. Yeah.
Okay. So basically we get to either have highlights or we get to have names, and either way, well, anyway, I'm going to keep my snarky passive-aggressive comment to myself this time. Well, Cephalopod Primus Thade, hail to thee. Thank you for sharing the information. As always, I learned a lot. Moira Kitty, thank you for being here. It's always good to have the cats represented. And we will hopefully do this again. Do we want to do next week or 2 weeks from now, or when would be a good time?
We'll do next Saturday.
Okay. We'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Talking about Tartaria and the mud floods. Thank you very much. Do you have any last words before I call it a stream, Moira Kitty?
No, I'm all right.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Don't forget, always, to teriyaki your cephalopods.
Yes. And I would like to remind you that no, you are not going mad. You're going sane in a world gone mad. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening. And if you all would like, maybe go watch Dragon Slayer on Netter's Network after the stream. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.